Hi, I'm Ken, and this is...
I'm Skeksis, and I know it. Girl, look at that girl.
Stop. We still aren't doing that.
You never get to do it.
Go.
You're watching our spoiler review of The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance.
Hi, I'm Jazz.
I'm John.
I'm Ken.
And this is our spoiler review of The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. If you haven't watched the other review, you should watch that one first before you watch the show, but you should definitely watch The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. It was amazing. As we talked about in our spoiler-free review, all of the actors were amazing. But now we get to talk about the details, and you understand, because hopefully you've watched the show. If you haven't, watch it, then come back. So that way you can discuss it with us. My favorite, and I think this was all of our favorites, was Huff. And Huff honestly became my favorite when he was protecting Deet.
There's a lot of really interesting character stuff. Huff is adorable. He's a podling. He wants to be the first ever podling paladin.
Yep.
Which, by the way, and this is going to be a bit of an aside, when they got to the gates of the palace and they couldn't get in, and he just said that he was a paladin.
Yeah.
Man, I'm like, well, but if there's never been a podling paladin, why would they believe he's a paladin?
I hate to say that, but he was big dick energy. That's what he was. That's what he was. That's what he was. Come on! He came up to it like... He came up to it like... Huff came up like, follow my lead.
He's like, I got this.
He really
Is that
did.
a wooden spoon in your pocket, or you have to see us?
I mean, he really did. It was a sword.
Oh, it's a sword. Okay.
It was a sword.
Yeah.
I mean, when he came in to protect Deet, he swung that spoon like he had never swung a sword in his entire life.
That's what he was rocking.
He really was. And their relationship was just amazing. The fact that she came back for him, and he was surprised, which I guess he didn't think that they were such good friends. But she was like, no, I'm not leaving him.
What was great about their relationship is that it started in the first episode.
Yeah.
You know, there's some characters you don't really get to know right away.
Yeah.
Deet and Huff, I mean, they're really central the whole time. It's almost a shame that Huff isn't listed as one of the 4 or 5 main characters. It's almost like Deet and Huff are one character.
Yeah.
Their dynamic is so, especially toward the end, is so tight. Well, of course, he goes away for a little while. But
Yeah.
it just really sells it. But essentially, Age of Resistance is just leading us up to the movie, or potentially a little shy of the movie. We may get some more. We'll have to see, of course.
Heretic's character was amazing. I thought it was great when you're introduced to him. That whole scene, just the way he talks to them, and he's like, "Oh, I'm a Skeksis. You guys are a Gelfling. Come in."
The Heretic and the Wanderer,
Yeah.
they're mirrors of each other, and they actually hang out, and they're like buddies, and it's pretty interesting. And put on puppet shows within puppet shows.
Oh, that was so great. They did a really good job throughout the whole series of doing things that really staggered the emotion. Because there was things that happened where it was like, for me, super emotional. Especially when you're looking at Rian and his father and their evolution as a relationship.
Anybody who knows anything about Dark Crystal knows the Skeksis are evil. You see little flashes of it when they're just on their own, you know, figure out how to make us live forever. We will live forever.
Yeah.
We're going all crazy. But you don't really feel it until they abduct a Gelfling named Mira and drain her essence. Feel the essence coming out of her, and that's already dark. And we talked in our spoiler-free version about how dark this show gets. They
made a
stabbed her in the back with
needles or whatever.
needles, yeah.
Just
And it
sucked
hurt.
the essence
She
out of her.
screamed.
She's screaming. Honestly, genuinely caught off guard by how brutal it was. I couldn't believe that this was in the show. I think the best job done to where you don't notice who it is Simon Pegg.
Yes, even though I knew it was him, it never hit me that it was him.
As Skeksil, right?
Yep.
Yeah, as the Chamberlain.
Yep.
Yeah. Simon Pegg was the Chamberlain Excelsior, but he still made the character his own.
Yep.
Between that and the writing, going more in depth with Skeksil, seeing him more devious. I'm telling you, Skeksil was more villainous in the prequel series than he was in the movie.
Honestly, no, I agree with you because when he betrayed the general, I was like, oh, that's why they stripped you. In the movie, I'm like, oh, okay, you earned that. Because at first he was, he did the scene where he was like, no, we're friends, right? And he lulls him into this false sense of security.
And then stabs the shit out of him.
Right?
I was like...
Yeah, and I didn't see that. I mean, okay, I did. Like, when he came up, I was like, oh you about to die.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah.
But they did it well enough to still, like, you knew it was going to happen, but as soon as it happened,
still,
you're like, holy crap.
Yep.
Like, you already knew anyway. So
it still gets you.
If we had to sum up this series, we would say it was Game of Thrones, but with Muppets.
Honestly, there was so much betrayal.
Well, we got Natalie Emanuel from Game of Thrones. We've got Natalie Dormer. 2 Natalies.
Yeah.
Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones. So, I mean, it's definitely kind of
Hey, if the MCU could have a bunch of Chris's.
Right? We talked about Celadon. Now we can get into the character. She pissed me off. She was raised by a kind of a traditionalist mother. So to me, when I was watching that scene, I was like, you know she's a traditionalist. It should make sense to you, like, wait a minute, maybe I should listen to her because she's going against everything she's ever taught me. Thankfully, she comes to her senses later, but it isn't until she sees it in her face.
Celadon's voiced by Gugu Mbatha-Raw. She's been in a number of things. She was in Doctor Who with Martha Jones' little sister, Tiff. Phenomenal performance as Celadon, and under our spoiler-free review, I mentioned that her arc parallels the show's arc. When her mother dies, that's right when the Skeksis are really starting to kind of just be blatantly evil.
Yep.
And so that all kind of happens together, and her performance mirrors that as well. It's a reflection of what's happening, and she just becomes this force to be reckoned with.
If they do a second series, I don't want them to stretch it out because it's so good that I feel like if they go too far, it's going to get to a point where it's, oh, this is still on, it shouldn't be on anymore. So I'm hoping that they get to that point where it makes sense to where they end. It'll fit with the next thing.
One theory that I have is parents, like who Kira and Jen's parents are, because it's kind of like the whole Superman story with them. They're just left with someone else, race that's different from theirs. My thought is that Deet and Rianne, they are Jen's parents.
Maybe.
Rhea is probably the mom of Kira.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the original 3 had to be parents or at least somehow connected to Jen and Kira. They may not go that direction. They may be totally separate because it would be too much like Star Wars. Oh, it's the Skywalker story. Oh, it's just this family's story. So it's a theory.
It could be.
It could be, but I'm on the fence of like which way is like this.
I think it'd be interesting if they're responsible for them being able to be born. Like if they were friends with their parents or whatever, and because of what they did, the parents were able to have them and save them as the saviors or what have you. I loved it. I don't really have anything bad to say about it, honestly. It's mostly like maybe nitpicky things, as you've heard, but I don't really have much bad to say about it.
I have nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean, a lot of other critics were complaining about, does Jim Henson still have a place in today's age, especially with, with CGI, companies like Pixar and DreamWorks dominating with total CGI, movies that are less and less practical effects, and we definitely agree. We definitely say yes, it does. They had this idea for a while. I'm just glad that they actually went through with it.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it was a thing we needed, but apparently we did. Like we said earlier, Dark Crystal was 37 years ago, and it's not one of those movies that you hear about all the time and people are always talking about it. So it was surprising that they went back to that well to make something.
If you are a fan of Jim Henson and Muppets, and of course of the original movie, you would like this. But if you are just a casual viewer,
it kind of depends on if you like fantasy.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, exactly. If you like fantasy, yes, you would.
My thing is, for the original Dark Crystal and Jim Henson creating it, at the very least, it spawned what I believe is the best show on television in 2019. And that's a pretty impressive feat to do from 37 years in the past. I put it above all the Marvel shows that have been on Netflix.
It was really well done. It kept your attention through from beginning to end. The thing about a lot of other shows these days, there's usually some part where you're like, I'm lost now. You know what I mean? This one was good from beginning to end, every episode. For this one, for sure, everything was needed. Everything was pertinent to the information. They didn't add a whole lot of filler. If you think differently, please comment. I'd love to hear other people's point of view on the show.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, we have a new video every single Friday. But if you can't wait until then, we have a new video for you right now.